and you see, it's extra hilarious. The presenters of the awards are way more representative than anyone nominated for them. 1,000 Years Dungeon.
On the subject of
Onanism.
On the subject of non-diverse nominees, I saw Little Women the other day.
Oh, yay! Greta Gerwig's film. What do you think?
It's very good.
Is it a good one?
She should have been nominated for Best Director.
Is Anya Taylor-Joy a Taylor-Joy?
No, you're thinking of Little Women. Not Little Women, you're thinking of Emma.
Oh, my apologies.
Emma.
I knew she was in a period piece.
I was talking about Little Women.
Yes.
Which is Saoirse Ronan and Emma Watson and Florence Pugh and
right, that's it. Florence Pugh. I always, for some reason, in my head, swap the names and faces with Florence Pugh and Anya Taylor-Joy.
I can't remember who plays Beth, but someone plays Beth.
Nubian, she's ace, maybe.
Beth, Beth's the little woman who dies.
Spoiler alert for how old's the book?
18 something, late 1800s.
Yeah, so if you don't know the story by now, I like how the marketing. Because who's the distributor? Sony, right?
It's a Pascal Pictures joint.
Right, so I love how that's how you use your powers for good, Amy Pascal.
Yeah.
Stop doing the Spider-Man shit. B, I love how there's some very subtle Sony marketing going on, because I remember that at least 2 of the posters featured, your central 4. But Emma Watson on both of these posters I've seen is just slightly separate from the others and facing front a little bit more, even though it's not like plastered as a name thing.
Yeah.
Because someone at Sony Pictures is like, we've got to put the Harry Potter girl on the poster.
Harry Potter girl.
We've got to do the Harry Potter girl. They're not going to come see it unless Harry Potter girl.
I saw Laura Dern and Bob Odenkirk. Also very good.
I've heard that Bob Odenkirk is very Bob Odenkirk.
He's so Bob Odenkirk. But in the best possible way.
In the Bob's possible
it's
Kirk.
It's Bob Odenkirk. There is no bad way to be Bob Odenkirk.
That's very true. I was binge watching a bunch of Drunk History, the US version on YouTube the other day, and he's one of those actors who recurred in like a series of it and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Whenever he pops up in it, I'm just immediately like, oh, Bob Odenkirk. Like everyone else, I can kind of just do. Oh, Jack Black's there, Tony Hale, great, Oh, Bob Odenkirk. He just sticks out like a Bob Odenkirk.
He's Odenkirking it.
He's cooking it up a tree.
As opposed to Picarding it up a tree, which we'll get to later. Hey! But
engaged.
first...
But first...
No, you're not engaged, you're married. Hey! We're going to go through some little bits of news. Not a massive news week this week.
Bits.
Some little bits. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth.
Fucking mouth.
Yeah. A couple of little bits of news. First of all, the one you brought up.
By the way, I'm Chris Nutmeg Johnson.
Yes, I'm Matthew Hazelnut Praline Watson.
There we go. It's branding. We've got to get it out there. Patreon.com/BigDumcast. Okay.
Cinnamon. So, what are we doing?
News, probably.
Right, this was it. I had a moment. So the most interesting tidbit, which you brought to my attention,
yes,
which I cannot believe.
I think it was the first thing I said when I walked through the door. Right?
I am agog. I am aghast. Is this movie getting rebooted at last? They're doing a fucking Anaconda reboot.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What the fuck, Richard?
Yeah, who are the writers again? There's a Pedigree.
Ooh, I mean, Pedigree.
By Pedigree, I mean they've written scripts.
Pedigree as in dog food. Evan Doherty, who wrote the Tomb Raider and the Shadow
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Tomb Raider, the
Alicia Vikander.
The Vikander one, which was so...
This is basically not as fun as playing the game.
Even my dad thought it was not very good.
And your dad
has no taste.
Your dad is a film apologist.
He is a film apologist. He has all the Underworld films.
Oh, God.
He owns all the... He's got a franchise shelf, which has a bunch of DVDs, like, grouped into franchises, and one of them is Underworld.
And yet he did not care.
And he did not care for
the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie from 2018, I want to say.
He owns Batman vs Superman and Justice League.
What's wrong with him? He ain't heavy.
He's my dad.
Father. Yeah. Well, someone has to own them, so the rest of us can have Wonder Woman and Shazam, and maybe Aquaman if they're feeling.
I think
nasty.
he has also got Wonder Woman and Aquaman, but he does have BVS and Justice League.
Does he have Shazam yet?
No, he
We
does
must
not.
fix this.
I don't think he's seen Shazam.
We must fix this.
He's not seen Shazam.
Do you think? Anaconda can be fixed?
Anaconda, man, what a fucking weird thing to reboot.
1997, now referred to as a cult movie, but at the time it was like one of the big summer tentpoles that year because it starred J-Lo, like at the not so much the height of her powers, but as her powers were
she was
beginning
ascending.
to,
Yeah. J-Lo, Ice Cube, remember Ice Cube was in movies.
Bless him.
John Voight, Eric Stoltz, Danny Trejo, of course, and
Yeah, well, he's only in it for a little bit, isn't he, Trejo?
Owen
Wilson. Yeah.
and also that bit where John Voight winks as he's spat out by the Anaconda.
Yeah, that's freaking weird.
I mean, John Voight is weird.
The whole film's weird. For those who
There's
don't know,
a reason him and Angelina Jolie don't talk, and it's definitely
well,
because
I mean,
he's fucking weird.
You looked at any of his political posts, right? The guy's psychotic. He's like the Randy Quaid of Trump supporters.
Randy Quaid. Oh, that's a fucking...
Yeah.
That's
Like he's one step away from having sex with somebody in a MAGA hat on camera and just screaming Trump 2020 down the barrel. Anaconda, for those who don't know, is a movie where these journalists and researchers go to find this big old fucking snake.
Yeah, they go to the Amazon, big snake.
John Voight is their guide / a pirate, kind of, and fucks them over. And in
Angelina
1997,
Jolie's
CG. No, I wish Angelina Jolie was the actual heroine in it. That'd be
not?
awesome. No, J-Lo.
Fucking hell, J-Lo.
Angelina Jolie would have added
John
a bit.
Voight on the brain.
Angelina Jolie. That's never a good thing.
I know.
Angelina Jolie would have added a bit of much needed like joie de vivre into it.
Joie de
probably.
vivre.
The thing is,
Are you saying that Ice Cube and Eric Stoltz can't bring the joie de vivre?
now Ice Cube, from my memory, Ice Cube's pretty decent in it. But here's the thing.
I mean, Ice Cube's pretty decent.
It's a monster movie, but it's a monster movie without teeth, which is ironic because large constrictors have sort of backwards facing fangs, which is actually the most frightening thing about them, because if they do manage to grab prey while it's still alive, they can't wriggle out of their mouth because the teeth are basically scraping them in toward the throat.
Yes.
Little fact there. See, anacondas could be great monsters in a horror movie.
Well, they did.
Absolutely could be.
It got at least 2 sequels, so...
5 films in total. Five in total films, I believe.
I know there was Hunt for the Blood Orchid, which was a theatrical sequel, and the rest were all straight to
and it's
video.
Shit. Because I remember picking that one up and going, I think I like Anaconda. I always catch it on TV.
I like it.
Well, it's one of those films that got a lot of airtime in the UK on telly in the early 2000s. Like,
Yeah.
Anaconda was one of those films that circulated a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember Hunt for the Blood Orchid coming out in, 2005 or 6? And the DVD in Woolworths, very soon after its release, was like a £4 DVD.
Which is very heavy for a DVD.
And
it's
I
only
was...
a little bit of plastic.
Swine. And I was binging through like horror films and monster movies at this point in my life. So I was like, I think I like Anaconda. I'll pick up Hunt for the Blood Orchid. Go for it. Boom. I watched it once. Never watched it again. And then gave it away free at a car boot sale at Bowler's a few years ago when I sold some DVDs.
I'm going to have to watch Anaconda again, aren't I?
Nope. Don't bother. It's not good. The thing is, it could be a great monster movie in the 90s, but they use practical effects sparingly and don't shoot them well. And then they do something which no film, I think, has ever fixed, really. They begin the trend of, here's a snake in a movie in CGI.
It never looks good.
It looks shit.
It never looks good.
Always looks shit. I think the closest we've had to that not looking shit is the 2016 Jungle Book.
Yeah.
And even then, that's because there was only one human element and not live sets. So you can make it look good, because it's like, oh, this is what the whole scene looks like.
This is a person in a cartoon.
Yeah. Whereas Anaconda did not look good. None of its sequels do. Some of the sequels have the Hoff in. True story.
You are yanking my fucking chain.
I'm not even kidding. It's a whole... Seriously, when Sharknado 2, or whatever it was, came out, I was... I was at the time making comic book related pop culture content for a previous podcast project that went fucking nowhere, and I was looking up,
as opposed to this comic book pop culture podcast project, which is going fucking nowhere.
I got a coffee out of it, and we never changed the feed at any point. So everybody's been able to listen since day one.
Okay.
So, but I was writing like little article tidbitty things for Tumblr and for a prospective site that never happened. And when I was doing it, one of the Sharknado sequels had come out, and I was like, right, let's see how many of these sort of cheesy franchises, how many have pushed to a multiple film kind of thing. Because I remember seeing films in like Matalan as a kid at the queue for things like Spiders and Spiders 2. And you're just like, what is this? The fuck is this?
Like straight to video compilation.
The kind of films that definitely sold a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s, but when you look them up online, there's barely any information about them at all.
Yeah.
Even on IMDb, it's just the bare minimum.
Because you just pick them up for £1.
It's nuts. So I was like, let's see how many there are.
It's £1 for 5.
And I remember scrolling through this list of like recently released ones, and it was like Anaconda 3. And I was like, whoa, now! There's a third one? Yeah, that series went on.
When are we getting the Angela Anaconda crossover? Angela versus Anaconda.
Angela v Anaconda. Anaconda v Anaconda. And the poster is just her looking slightly miffed. And that one practical shot of the puppet head of the snake from the first film that they really liked so much that they kept doing the same close-up throughout the film.
What about if they have it where, as like a supervillain origin movie, where Angela Anaconda takes control of the Anacondas, and it becomes Angela's Anacondas. And then they do a...
Just call the main character Angela. There's your nod.
Then they do a maudlin sort of family drama sequel set in Depression-era Ireland and call it Angela's Anaconda's Ashes.
Oh, good lord. I'm forcing a segue into the next item right now.
Obi-Wan is on hold.
Obi-Wan's delayed. The Disney Plus series.
I wonder what hold music he gets while he's on the phone. Is it like jizz? Is it just some...
Just to clarify, that's the name of the music in Star Wars.
Some light jizz music.
No, I bet he gets lift music versions of the John Williams themes. Oh, there is this floor.
Hello there. No.
It's not a phone, Obi-Wan.
It's just a repeat. It's just the music looping.
This is all rumour that's been escaping and dribbling out, but a few different outlets have
what,
heard
like jizz
from
music?
It. Like jizz music. Apparently, script writer, one of the main writers, is no longer on it, but his work is going to be used. They're looking for new writers. Allegedly, the 6-episode series has been reduced to 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And Ewan McGregor did a bit of an interview for someone else this week, and it was asked to him, like, hey, we've heard that there's been delays in Obi-Wan's productions, this, that, and the other. And he says, yeah, there's been a bit of rejigging going on, but we're still going to get it out for when we plan to, and it's still going to be absolutely amazing, like, it's a really good story, la la la. Of course, when he says, it's going to be out when we wanted it to, no date has been set for this series yet.
So we can say that and get away with it.
Say that, and it could be, like, in 7 years' time. But rumor has it that the reason it's being rejigged, and this is I've heard this from very vocally anti-Kathleen Kennedy news sites, and also very like open, not pissy thingy news sites, that apparently it's because of story similarities to The Mandalorian that went unchecked by the head honchos, so Kathleen Kennedy and those in charge of Star Wars, until someone pointed out, you do realise this is similar,
This is the same thing, yeah.
And then they've gone, oh shit! Which, if that is true, is very unfortunate, because it shows, whoever it be it Kathleen Kennedy or others around her, it shows a massive lack of awareness of their own products.
Pablo Hidalgo and his story group are the people who are supposed to keep a check on that, so it depends what...
True,
it
also depends on how long it's taken
they
them,
get their hands on that.
Depends on how long it's taken them for them to get a meeting as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because these guys are always busy. That's why you should never have the creative head necessarily also being the head producer of it all too.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Feige has only in the last few years been made the head of Marvel Studios. He was the overseer and exec producer for it all and whatnot. now that he's in that role, there are things happening that make us go, ooh, this looks like there's a bit of chaos going on now, which is a shame now that he's less hands-on.
Well, yeah, because we've got a couple of Marvel projects that are a bit...
We do indeed.
Up in the air. We've got...
We covered Doctor Strange of the Week. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness lost Scott Derrickson as its director. He cited publicly over creative differences.
Yeah.
As well as releasing a few, not that bitchy, but slightly salty sort of posts and tweets in relation to it. Or at least endorsed retweets of people making jokes about it.
Captain Marvel 2 has switched writers. They're on to Megan McDonnell for the screenplay, who's currently working on WandaVision.
Though they're also looking for a new director as well. So not returning directors.
Yes, yeah.
They said that they are looking, visibly looking for female talent.
Yes.
Which, yes, also need more of that in Hollywood, in the mainstream especially. B, yes, because there's a level of perspective there that a male director would not necessarily bring if we are getting more personal with Carol, of course.
Yep.
But C, I hope that doesn't mean they're ruling out every option, because if so, that is that weird kind of, oh guys, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you just, be careful. So, we're all for it, but I hope it's the right person and it's somebody who can get to shine and make an absolute killing and mark it as like... Oh my god, she's freaking great. Can she do more of these big action tentpoles, please?
They should have a bit of time because they're tagging a 2022 release.
Okay, so production window-wise for the MCU, that's not too bad. And also keep in mind, there's a big gap at the moment. This year we're only getting 2 Marvel movies. After having a shit-long gap between Spider-Man and Black Widow, which is out in May?
Yeah.
April for the UK, I think. Last week of April. And then Eternals in November.
I think we're going to ramp up. I think we'll probably have a quiet year.
I think that's a good call.
And
After the finale, unquote, it's a good idea to take a step back.
To reset. But we don't know what the Fantastic Four and X-Men plans are yet.
Yeah, we do know what's happening with their TV stuff, though. Something else that's thrown under the bus.
Remember those Hulu animated projects?
Yeah, which were not MCU connected, but were made by Marvel Studios with Hulu as part of Disney and Hulu's ongoing relationship.
And we're going to be interconnected.
Those shows were going to interconnect,
to lead to The Offenders.
Yes.
Well, they've been slashed in half.
Yeah, we've lost 2 shows.
We've lost Howard the Duck and we've lost Tigra and Dazzler. So that leaves us with Hitmonkey and MODOK. MODOK recently got a voice cast announcement. But it also means that if you're having them, then
there's
probably
no
going to lose The Offenders.
Yeah, they're going to do The Offenders
in some way. But yeah.
Which I don't mind in a way, because this is amidst rumours again that Disney Plus or one of the films is about to utilise some of the Netflix characters, as the legal statute is now about to be released.
Yes.
The 2-year limitation on their use.
There's some stuff happening.
So it's possible that maybe they're scaling back on that to focus on their TV efforts elsewhere, budget-wise, or maybe because they're like, we don't want to do The Offenders and then bring back The Defenders, and we want to do this, that, and the other with it.
But they've got a lot of projects in the works. Not everything's going to make it out. They do that thing of announcing really early and then going, oh, actually... So they announce that the stuff's in place before they've even really got any of the work done.
Yeah.
So if it stalls, then it just looks bad for everyone, but they've already announced it, so they have to be like, well, actually, it didn't work out. So I think they should let these things get a bit more into development before they announce them, but that's just me. That's what I do.
I think the only industry that ever announces things when everything's like 90% done is the voice acting industry. Or animated films and animated stuff. You know, when they always say, such a body's going to be voicing such a body in this thing that comes out next week.
Because they've already recorded it a year ago.
But they always word it as like, we've cast Thingy as this part, and it's always announced as like isn't that great? It's like, guys, they'll have recorded their lines like 2 years ago, and in the last month you'll have got them in to just do a couple of ADR pickups. Like, that is literally, you've announced it now because they've like locked their lines. The only time I can think of in recent memory where that didn't happen is with Despicable Me 2. Where Al Pacino was announced as being the villain.
Oh, yeah.
And then about a month before the film came out, it was like, yeah, no, he's not playing him anymore. And they got someone else to come in and, like, go over all of his stuff. And I think that was probably because they couldn't get him back for the ADR. I think, if I remember correctly, they cited that there was a creative difference of some kind. Whether that be with Al Pacino and the filmmakers or with like Pacino's people, and the creative difference is more, yeah, we'd like to creatively change this contract for more money, please.
Yeah, the difference was a zero.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Somewhere in the paycheck.
So I'm hoping everything works out for Marvel, and it's not like Kevin Smith is not going to be busy now that he's not showrunning Howard the Duck, because he's also showrunning Masters of the Universe for Netflix, so everything will be alright.
So...
A needle pulling thread?
Remember that Transformers franchise that Paramount ran into the ground and then they made a good one, but it was too late for no one to care?
Yeah.
So they might be carrying on with that.
Oh, right, so doing more Transformers films...
Apparently so.
In the semi-rebooted Bumblebee continuity?
Well, sort of.
Will John Cena be involved?
Possibly.
They're called Decepticons. It's in their name.
That Bumblebee's really good, guys. Go watch Bumblebee. But, no, well, here's the thing. They are... Paramount are apparently working on 2 new Transformers movies. Presumably, one being a sequel to Bumblebee. And that's being written by Joby Harold, who's currently working on Army of the Dead with Zack Snyder. And the other, being written by James Vanderbilt, is apparently a Beast Wars project.
What the Jimmy...
So apparently they're looking at doing Beast Wars! Oh, sorry. Here we go, I'm going to play the video. You ready? Oh no, I've got no sound on.
There it was. What was it, Beast Wars?
Listen to that 90s ass fucking chugging theme!
Look at that 90s ass CGI animation. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, that was the thing. They said terrorize before they transformed.
Predacon said terrorize, Maximal said maximize.
Oh, good lord.
But then Dinobot switches to maximize later on because he changes teams.
Yeah. Oh, he does. He becomes still has his evil voice.
Yeah, but then he sacrifices himself later on.
Good god.
And then gets resurrected and is an evil dude in season
Beast
3.
Wars.
Beast Wars was alright.
Beast Wars was alright. The toys were excellent. But Beast Wars is the only one of those late 90s, early 2000s, it's an era we keep calling back to, shows made completely with CGI that has aged alright in certain ways, based solely on the fact of location.
Prehistoric Earth. Very
Earth.
few humans.
Very few humans, very few life in the frame at all beyond our central characters. Lots of desert, lots of rocks, lots of quarries. Reason that makes it age better? You guys go back and watch any fucking episode of But Ugly Martians.
Go back and watch Reboot.
Well, Reboot kind of gets away with it because it's all set in a computer, technically.
Just go back and watch Reboot.
Alright. You know, that got a reboot, funnily enough, about 10 years ago.
Stealth reboot.
Yeah, and it was a continuation of the original.
Yeah, a stealth reboot.
Yeah, but it didn't go massive, and again, like the Anaconda sequels, you can only really find out much about it by looking at a reboot wiki. This is the second week in a row you and I have mentioned Reboot. We talked about it last week. Off the pod, but we talked about it.
There's got to be some kind of convergence coming. We're going to have to... There's going to be some sort of reboot thing coming down the pipe, surely.
Do you remember played Megabyte?
That...
Voice actor supreme Tony J.
See, I was going to say David K because he sounds like...
He does a bit, doesn't he?
The Beast Wars Megatron, who's David K.
Yeah, no, it's Tony J.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Megabyte's most defining facial feature is his big old chin.
Okay.
Doesn't he sort of look like a blue metal Shere Khan?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Tony J then voiced Shere Khan in Jungle Book 2.
I
think, conspiracy theory, I think that's why he was cast as Shere Khan. Not because he sounds like George Sanders. Or sounded like George Sanders, rest in peace, Tony J. But because he played a character with the same chin size in an animated series.
Fantastic.
Alrighty.
Well, the chin's very important for the voice.
Very true. Alrighty. R.I.P. Kobe Bryant and Terry Jones.
But one more
Neither
thing.
of you are Tony J, but I just thought I'd throw it in there.
One more thing before we move on to the Picard section of the show, where we talk about the latest Star Wars.
Our new item, Matt and Chris, hopefully continue to talk favourably about Picard.
Okay. So you know my favourite movie of all time?
The Thing?
And you remember how we got a prequel, which people don't really like, but I will stand up for?
It makes for a really good double bill.
It's on Netflix at the moment.
Yeah, oh, okay. So you can revisit it whenever you fancy it, Mo. Yeah, the prequel is what Put it this way. Put the Thing prequel on in the background while you're making and eating tea. And then when tea's finished and you've got your ice cream and your booze, then watch the Thing. It's a nice double bill.
Yeah, okay.
That's my recommendation.
All right.
It doesn't deserve all your attention, but it deserves some attention.
Well, it looks like Blumhouse and Universal, that good old...
Blumhouse, the monobrowed purveyors of the jump scare.
That good old...
I do like them, but they are a bit like... their ratio is now kind of equal.
The fucking A-Team.
Yeah.
They're fast-tracking a new The Thing.
What?
Because...
What?
Because...
What?
In 2018, John Betancourt announced the discovery of a novel-length version of the John W. Campbell Jr. Novella, Who Goes There, on which The Thing from Another World and The Thing was based, and kickstarted a campaign to release it, and the novel's titled Frozen Hell, and it's basically an unabridged version of the novella, which had to be shortened for publication. So
there's some. I'm guessing then there's some similar beats in there to Who Goes There.
It's Who Goes There, but novel length.
So if the movie, The Thing,
yeah,
were remade, but the person who remade it just randomly removed and rewrote some of the scenes, so stuff we remember happened in it, but there's also some other stuff that's new.
Possibly, but. I
don't want a remake of The Thing, Matt. The prequel was sort of a remake of The Thing.
It's not to the point where people call it a remake. It's not. It's clearly not a remake.
I can see why they call it a remake, because it has the same fucking name.
Yeah, that's weird.
And the same shit happens at certain points.
Well, yeah, because it's the same thing.
And that's why it's good as a double bill.
It's literally the same thing.
That's why it's good as a double bill, because that's why it's good as a double bill, because you at least if you're watching it just as a double bill could be like, oh, that's how that axe got there.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of the same movie, just a not as good version. So do we need a third/fourth version of The Thing?
Well, Alan Donners, who is the producer.
He's rolling in the Donners.
He posted over on Facebook. He posted. This is a producer posted on Facebook.
Good God.
It's official. I received my signed contract and first check. I am executive producing a remake of The Thing, but with additional chapters of John Campbell's groundbreaking novel Frozen Hell that had been lost for decades. Now, for the first time ever, Campbell's full vision will be realised on the big screen. The new film will include the very best of RKO's The Thing from Another World, John Carpenter's classic The Thing, and both books, Frozen Hell and Who Goes There.
Someone in the comments, are you going to say anything about the 2011 film The Thing?
Oh no,
and then he blocks them and removes them.
Because it was a remake of The Thing. But it wasn't though!
For the first time ever, John Campbell's vision will be realised on screen. Dude,
I don't think John Campbell had a vision.
The only way his vision would be realised on screen is if you just posted a film of a close-up of the pages of the book, and someone turned it and everyone read it.
Just someone reading the book, not even show the text of the book, just show someone reading the book, and every now and again they just turn to the camera and go,
Hey guys.
That's it.
This is real good.
This is good. It's a real page turner.
At one point they go for a shit.
Just put the book face down, and then you'll have someone in the audience going, I'll ruin the spine!
And that's just from the seats.
Hey!
See what I did there? I took a book joke and I referenced that cinema seats are uncomfortable.
So yeah,
this week's episode is brought to you by View. And sorry, I'm kidding. Cineworld.
So yeah, that's an interesting news week. That's some things that are happening.
Things are happening, Matt. Shit's happening.
I'm going to be seeing David Copperfield and The Lighthouse this week. So
beautiful. We've still seen Jojo Rabbit.
We might. Oh, you should see Jojo Rabbit.
We were going to go on Friday afternoon, and then the weather just kind of put us off. So it never happened, but we will see it because there are still many, many showings of it.
Yes, it's very good.
Which makes me happy.
It's very good.
In my pants.
It should make you happy in your pants.
Does Hitler have to make you happy in your pants?
No,
when he's played by Taika Waititi. Perhaps.
I mean, it depends what's happening to Hitler at the time. The worse it is for him, the better it is for me. So, Picard, Christopher Picard.
Yes.
Number 1.
The Amazon Prime series.
Amazon
sequel
Prime
show.
over here. CBS All Access in the States.
Yeah, sequel.
Which is why we're not getting it all at once.
Which is fair enough. I kind of like that. I like the idea that we have appointment
I've
TV
stopped binging
again.
series. Like I've stopped binge watching stuff. I will deliberately space stuff out.
At the most, I might watch 2 episodes of something in one sitting. Just if I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, go on, I've got another hour.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. Let's have one more
I
episode.
think the most I've done recently is I did 3 Witchers on the trot.
Oh, did you toss a coin to your Witcher 3 times in a row?
Witcher several times.
Oh, brr.
There's a lot of tossing in that show.
Oh, God, and arse is breaking pants, apparently.
I hope Anya Chalotra, who plays Yennefer, got paid a very good amount for the amount of flesh she has to bear on screen.
I hope so.
In and out of prosthetics as well.
Yeah, bless her.
She is she does some fucking good work, and oof, like maybe
it would suck to
maybe
find
get some
out
less,
she was not paid well for it.
Yeah,
if
maybe
she
get
had
some
to
less nudity in future seasons, unless you're comfortable with the nudity, in which case fair play to you. But I would demand
more Cavill, more
that,
Cavill
please.
nudity.
Oh, there's plenty of Cavill nudity.
Full frontal Geralt.
Stop dehydrating yourself, Cavill.
Stop it, lad.
Stop it.
Drink some fucking water.
You're such a big boy. Just be a
dehydrate,
big boy.
and then when you're filming your nude scenes, be drinking in the scenes.
Yeah.
Just drinking lots of water.
Just be a big boy.
Be a big old boy.
Don't be a ripped boy. Just be a big boy.
Big boy Cavill. Big boy pants that chafe. Anyway, Picard. So it's the sequel to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It's a sequel to all the Star Trek
and Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
It is chronologically the latest Star Trek we have seen to date.
We won't go into because we can do an episode when more episodes have come out, really, but we won't go into big spoilers. But we're gonna. There might be some mild spoilers, so mild spoiler warning for Picard episode Juan.
The only real spoilers we need to talk about are the setup for the premise of the series, which is that Picard has retired his commission from Starfleet.
He's an admiral.
He was an admiral. But he sort of embitteredly retired because, as we know from other Star Trek stuff, the Romulan sun went supernova, and the Romulan homeworld was destroyed. Mm-hmm. And
Romulus.
Romulan. Yes, Romulus.
Romulus. Romuworld.
Romuworld. All your Rom needs.
Just not a home.
CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, BD-ROM. All the ROMs you need.
Betamax. No! Get out.
Fuck off.
Fuck you. Your obsolete format.
It would basically be HMV.
Yeah.
Because it's all read-only memory. It's not like BDIW. Who has a BDIW drive? Who the fuck's burning Blu-rays? What are you doing? How do you even do that?
Oh, God.
So...
Picard. We're not delaying because we don't want to talk about it. We're just very sleepy boys.
Well,
I'm a sleepy boy. You're an active boy with your dreams.
I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy. I'm a brave boy.
The beefy boy.
He retired, and it seems for a reason of protest.
Basically, there was backlash to the Romulan evacuation effort, which Picard spearheaded because the Federation and the Romulans have been enemies for so long. But there's a great moment in the episode where
this journalist who I wanted to punch.
Yeah, she's fucking horrible. She's pushing him, and she's like, "Well, we want." And Picard said, "Well, we needed to save, thousands of lives." She's like, "Romulan lives? No, lives." Yeah. And it's that moment you're like, "Oh, Picard's back.
Yeah,
Picard's back. That's Picard."
Is.
This episode did a really good job of just reaffirming all the things I love about the character of Jean-Luc Picard.
And yet also catching us up to where he is mentally right now. The most telling little bit of here's what you're dealing with, folks, was toward the beginning when he first goes into his kitchen and he goes to his replicator.
Yes.
Yeah. And he goes, tea, Earl Grey, decaf.
And
it's such a neat little moment, but you sort of go, Yeah, he's old as balls.
Well, according to like the people have done the maths on the timelines that have been presented in various
Star Trek media.
Star Trek shows, and I think he's 94. Picard's 94 in this.
Fuck. Do humans live a bit longer?
Yeah,
Star
humans
Trek?
tend to live to about 150 if they're like well looked after.
And he seems to be not enjoying retirement, but at least benefiting from it.
Sprightly.
He has a vineyard.
There is a nice sort of reality ensues moment later on where he's running from some pursuers, and the woman he's with is way ahead of him, and he's like behind her.
Knackered,
he's like,
yeah. And it's not played for comedy. It's just
it's just like fucking hell. He's old.
It's like
he's not an action hero anymore.
He's not.
And he never really
tumble.
was.
No,
he was dashing.
He could hold himself in a fight.
Yeah.
He could get himself out of a scrape, and he was a good shot. But
the closest you ever seen to him, ever really see him being an action hero is in First Contact.
Yeah,
which is also the best of the Next Generation movies, and one of the best Star Trek movies. Period.
True. But he's retired to a vineyard.
Yeah.
He has two sort of assistants who look after him, who are
Both
both
Romulans.
Romulan, a married couple. It's
Yes.
implied.
So presumably they were two of the Romulans that he rescued, that now look
we're
after
going to
him.
repay the favour.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna basically not like we're indebted to, we're alive to. No, they work for him. They're his assistants.
But this is also a society which doesn't really have money or an economy.
Yeah, true.
So there's no one really has a job for money. That's just their job. You know what I mean?
Another thing that this episode does really well is reintroduce the idea of what Star Trek's always done really well, especially the 90s ones, because of the effects being able to achieve it better, which is several different species and the galaxy are just working and living together, no freaking qualms.
So the main female character that we see in the trailer, Daj. We see her with a boyfriend early on, and he's another species.
And they're sort of playful. They're clearly a bit of a newish couple.
Yeah.
Because she's sort of asking him a little bit about his species clearly has sort of some level of empathic ability, because he can tell that she's got good news and she's keeping it secret, but he doesn't know what it is, and he's like, it's a good thing, right? What is it? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking him about that sort of stuff, and it's like, this is cute. Look, it's a galaxy where people who are different are completely cool with that and are inquisitive with each other, not arsy about it. More on that later, Doctor Who.
Except, unless you're a synthetic life form.
Yes,
because synths, as they're called, have now been banned, because during the Romulan evacuation, a group of renegade synths, because Starfleet had been trying to replicate synthetic life forms based on commander data for who's been the only truly sentient android.
Yeah.
So Starfleet had been trying to replicate that work for decades, but a group of renegade synths used the holes in Starfleet security created by the Romulan evacuation and bombed the Mars shipyards where a lot of the famous ships of Starfleet were built, to the point where 20 years later the atmosphere of Mars is still burning.
Yeah. So shit went down. Synths were then immediately outlawed and dismantled and rounded up. There are, as far as we know, none anywhere now at all. We briefly visit
not in the Federation anyway.
No, we briefly visit one of the companies that does research for the Federation, and their synthetics department is still open and still functions, but it's mostly used for archiving and reference, despite being clearly flaws of practical labs.
Well, they can still research, but they can only do theoretical research. They can't actually build anything.
Yeah. So,
and they've also got B4 in a drawer.
Yes. Yeah, that was disturbing. But yeah, there's little. If you're a long-term fan of it, certain references and certain little things will make you smile. If you know your Android lore as well, there's a bit of a mini revelation toward the end for the synths where you sort of go, of course. And it's sort of the note the episode ends on a little bit.
Also there's a hell of a wham shot at the end of the episode.
Oh god, yeah, because that ended, I was like, right, wait, what?
I had to explain that to Keeks.
What the fuck?
I had to explain what you're seeing at the end to Keeks, and she was like,
it's a great visual.
But why is that? Because she's not watched a lot of TNG, so. But if you've watched a lot of TNG and Voyager, then the last shot of the episode would be like, Well, that can't possibly go wrong, can it?
Oh, dearie me, holes.
But also, what would you expect from a story about Picard?
Yeah, I mean, they were going to touch on this, surely.
Yeah.
It was the biggest fucking trauma of his life
Yeah.
at the time of that series. What else? Picard's having recurring dreams, which gives the show an excuse for Brent Spiner to appear. So Data appears in the show.
With his big old face.
Yeah, which they sort of tried to...
They try and work around the fact that Brent Spiner's fucking 30 years older than he was when he last played Data, but, you can't.
See, I think it's fine, but I have a sense that they've tried to CGI him.
I don't mind it, because what are you going to do?
Don't CGI him, just make him up, man. It's cool. He's in a dream.
Yeah, that's true.
It's in a dream. Why not make him look a bit older? Picard always thought of him as human, so be like, yeah, sod it.
But in terms of the characters, the only two recurring characters we see in this are Picard and the dream sequence Data. But it does feel like they've
Did you spot some
never stepped away?
Speaking of, did you spot some lovely little Easter eggs in the archive room, like the banner?
Oh yeah, the banner for Picard Day and all that.
Oh, so cute.
Like the Klingon backleth and ceremonial knives and all that. That's one of those. I kind of want to go back to that scene and just freeze frame it and be like,
right, what do we got?
All this stuff.
What do we got? But again, not overblown. And there's no big fanfare. There's no
it's just
shots. They're just there. The banner's the only thing that sort of gets a bit of focus.
And I think that's important.
That's just because he looks up at it and he just sort of smiles, and you're like, ah.
Well, one of the.
Do you guys remember when you were younger and that show was on TV and life was less complicated?
It's on Netflix
so
now.
Fuck Picard.
Well, the great thing about Picard is that Patrick Stewart's an exec producer.
Yes.
And the thing that stopped him from coming back to the character for so long is he explicitly didn't want it to be for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
So for him to come back to this and be involved in it,
well, Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman apparently were the ones who approached him.
Yeah.
And they went like, hey, dude, we've got an idea. We're only going to do it, obviously, if you want to. What do you think? And, out of his very few conditions, one of them was, he's an old man living on a vineyard. Yes, he has staff. Yes, he's got carers.
Yeah.
But he's an old man living on his own. I want him to have a dog.
And a pit bull.
And a pit bull specifically, because they are outlawed in the UK and several other countries for being quote-unquote violent dogs.
Patrick Stewart is heavily lobbying for the law to be reversed and pit bulls to be re-legalised in the UK.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that dogs are only as dangerous as their owners.
Yeah. I mean, there can be breeding issues. There absolutely can be that stuff where, they are... there's tics and behavioural stuff that just sort of seems to be inherent. But
a lot of the time,
ultimately,
if a dog's dangerous, it's because it's been poorly trained or mistreated.
Someone has taught it to be, or it's been neglected for a very long time.
Yeah.
And is just sort of relying more on instinct and defensive attitudes. And pit bulls can be fucking adorable, because of course they can.
Number one.
And he calls it number one.
He's such a good boy.
He calls it number one.
He's such a good boy. He's the best boy, and he speaks French to it. Just in case you forgot that Jean-Luc Picard is supposed to be French.
He's been teaching it French.
Yeah, he's been teaching number one French. I love it.
The music is gorgeous. The score is beautiful. Very briefly, you will hear the some familiar music, and at the end, during it, I was like, right, hang on, that's not from the series. That's not from Next Gen. Why is that? It's some of the score from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Crops up in it. Because
Star Trek The Motion Picture's themes were reworked into The Next Generation.
Yeah.
The main theme for Star Trek The Motion Picture is the main theme for Next Generation because those two projects basically started as the same thing.
Yeah.
They both started as Star Trek Phase 2.
Oh, but God,
and then that was eventually reworked into the motion picture. And when they came back to revive... why not? When it came time to revive... it for TV, they reused a lot of the ideas from Star Trek Phase 2 and by extension the motion picture in The Next Generation, including the theme music.
Which is...
Now
I always get confused. What's Voyager?
Oh, it's slower. I can't remember I can't hum the Voyager theme. Something like that. Something like that.
What was Deep Space Nine?
Something like that.
What was Enterprise? This is a Firefly ripoff. Okay.
Been a long road.
Oh god, yeah.
Russell Watson.
It was, wasn't it?
Russell Watson.
Salford's own.
Russell
Watson. Fucking hell.
Getting from there to here. It's been a long road, but my time is finally here.
What's Discoveries? I can't remember. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's good. And we stopped.
It is good, but it's not hummable.
After Picard, Lucy and I turned to each other and were like, where did we get up to in Discovery? So I think we got 7 episodes in. Did we not like it?
I've not finished season 1.
Did we not like it? No, we did like it.
I do like it. I've just not carried on with it. I don't know why.
I think it's just because it's very bleak.
It is quite bleak.
And it kind of was like we're going to watch some funnier stuff now.
Gets better, though.
And Doug Jones is in it, so that's
I think I've got one more episode of season 1 to do, and it lightens up considerably.
Everything is better with Doug Jones.
Oh man, Doug Jones is fabulous in it.
Fact.
Because he's not just being like makeup man, he's also getting to do some actual acting.
See, that's why, as weird as it sounds, like that's why out of the 2 Hellboy films, I prefer the Golden Army. One of the big reasons
because it's Doug Jones doing the voice,
playing Abe Sapien completely, and it's so nice. He's such a good physical performer as well.
Yes,
him and Javier Botet are like the kings of playing tall, gangly things and putting a lot into it. I watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark last night.
How is it?
Pretty good. It sort of exists in that category of
because I wanted to see that.
This should be seen by more kids.
Yeah.
It's one of those films. It sort of like exists in the same kind of world as like The Hole. You know what I mean? Like there's these recent horror films that are really freaky, but not freaky enough for adults to be like but would definitely scare some kids, but also be their gateway drug to horror. It's good. It feels like it could have put a few more teeth in. You know what I mean? It's like good, but you come out of it going, that could have been a bit freakier, just a little bit freakier. But it's not bad, and the creature effects are really, 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 really good.
A lot of practical stuff.
Oh yeah, and a lot of very gruesome ends to people, like as in that's proper sort of like short anthology story-esque, and this is what became of them.
But the kind of stuff that you can get away with in a PG-13 / 12A.
I don't want to say much more, but yeah, I mean, mostly bloodless.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is when you can't just have blood and guts, you have to get more creative.
Good,
and they do.
Good.
So there is that. But Picard,
it's good. I want to see where it goes.
We triple billed last night. We watched Picard. We watched the last 2 episodes of Pyramids of Mars, and then we watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Nice.
What a hell of a marathon.
Nice.
I recommend Picard. I like it a lot. Our other central character, who I don't really want to say too much about because I'm like, no, that's the thing I want.
Yeah.
She's excellent.
Played by Issa. What's her surname?
Issa, what's her surname? Asadiga Ibawai.
You've seen her in the trailers. She's good.
Let's bring her up.
Issa Briones.
Issa Briones. She's great. She's really, really good. And is sort of our... Like, I guess the way she plays in this is sort of like, yes, if this show continues without him eventually, like, you're clearly who this is going to be about. Like, you can carry this. You are young, and yet you are carrying the heck out of this, out of the drama, out of the action, and also the mystery element.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment in it in particular where her character is taking a phone call that, at the time, I was like, seriously, what the fuck is happening? And on reflection, I'm like, no, I don't even think she knew exactly still what is happening. This is weird. Holy shit, there's a conspiracy element to this.
No,
I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely.
It's good. Picard is good. Check out episode 1. We might review it week by week. We might just, every few weeks, touch on a few episodes in a row.
Well, we've not got any big movies coming out for a couple of weeks, so we might touch on it again.
Well, Birds of Prey on the 7th of February?
Yeah, Birds of Prey. Not in time for next episode.
Is that right? On the 7th?
Yeah.
A Saturday release?
Yeah.
The fuck?
The fuck?
That's really weird. Because then it can't get an opening week. Oh. Its opening weekend gross would be calculated the following weekend. Because it's opening on Saturday.
Does
not
that
Friday.
indicate less or more confidence?
Less confidence.
Oh no.
That's Warner Brothers going, we need to make as much out of this as we can.
Well.
Which suggests word of mouth might kill it if it was released on a Thursday or a Friday.
If you can see The Lighthouse this weekend, we can talk about The Lighthouse next week.
I I was kind of excited for Birds of Prey, and now I'm like, oh, that's an odd decision.
Yeah.
Why'd you spill your beans? We're going into spoiler territory, folks, because it's time to talk about Fugitive of the Jadoon.
This is what I double
Who
billed.
story.
On Sunday, I double billed Picard and Doctor Who.
Noich. The reason it's spoiler territory is because beyond the initial premise of this is a Doctor Who episode with the Jadoon.
The Jadoon!
Everything about it is spoilery.
A Jadoon platoon near that lagoon.
It's more of a river.
I love that she's just like she understands how laboured her pun is. She's like, oh.
And it's for no one but herself.
No, she's not doing it for anyone else.
It's not like Martha Jones is there listening to her or anything.
Because Yaz and Ryan are just like, what?
It's purely for her and for us.
Right, so...
but to go into any detail about it is to talk about...
Not that it stopped any news sites, or even the BBC Twitter. Like, they're just...
weird,
As soon as that episode went, they were like, here's all the spoilers, all the spoilers.
And even the Doctor Who social media feeds, which seem to sometimes say too much too soon.
Oh, constantly.
They've only really focused on one of the big kind of, things of this. As joyous as it may be, it does seem a little weird that it's like, you're not going to talk much about the other thing? But I also have a feeling that it's because both of the surprises this week aren't threads that are going to be necessarily picked up on this series. I think they're going to inform this series arc a bit. But
I think you might see him in the finale.
Maybe, well, Chibnall has said... Okay, spoilers, here we go, mother truckers. Chibnall has said that we won't be seeing Jack again this series.
Okay.
This is his one appearance. Now, he could be fibbing, but I mean, why? Why fib outright? Just be more vague about it. But I think that's probably because he's like, yeah, I want to continue that story, but it's not this year. And that suggests to me that it's more of a tactical play of, see what people's reaction is. Do you see how people are responding to this? You've got to give me another series, or you've got to keep me on.
Jodie said she's already in for another series.
Jodie is. Chibnall, we don't know yet.
I imagine they come as a pair.
There have been a lot of tensions behind the scenes with the BBC Worldwide / BBC Studios and the Wales team and everything. And it's possible that they're having to barter a little bit, maybe because they need longer to make a series like they did this time again. And the worldwide sort of distribution side of it all doesn't like that kind of thing.
If you want it to be good, you have to give them the time. If you want,
but you also have one of the few BBC franchises, and if they can't get it out one series a year, then as far as the worldwide franchising arm of the BBC Studios and all that is concerned, that's a failure of product, considering said product, for at least its first 5-6 years in production, consistently delivered a series every year, plus spin-offs, plus external media like behind-the-scenes shows.
I think you have to look at a couple of things.
1 year it dipped out, it still released one series of each of its 2 spin-offs, and released 5 specials.
I think you have to look at two factors there. One is the kind of writer who was working on it originally.
True, Russell was a machine!
Russell T Davies spews out scripts.
Fueled by cigarettes from the Tesco down the road in Cardiff Bay. If you read the writer's tale, that's basically how he got through it all.
He churns stuff out at a prodigious rate. The amazing thing about Russell T Davies is that the speed he turns stuff out at, it all manages to be pretty much consistently good.
Even if sometimes he hands it in like an hour before the final deadline for it, because he stayed up all night to write it, and that's how he works.
Whereas Chris Chibnall is much slower and much more not necessarily a perfectionist, but he holds himself to a different standard than Russell T Davies does. I think he thinks he's making, or feels like he's making, more prestige TV than Russell T Davies felt with Doctor Who. I think you're looking at someone who thinks he's making like real good drama versus someone who thinks he's making a family entertainment show.
Yeah.
And both are equally valid.
Yeah.
But that's the two different what do we call it? Philosophies we're looking at it from. And the other one is that the budget that the show uses and the production value that the show uses has increased exponentially
partially down to the reduction of 4 episodes, 3 from the series and a festive special.
But if you're gonna up those production values, that comes with more production costs in terms of time.
Although,
both in setup and post.
Have you seen the cinematography debate going on Twitter over the last couple of days?
No.
Friend of the show, Paul Holmes, started it partially as well, when he talked about how the modern series, the current run this year and last year, seem to be always slightly blurry compared to, say, Series 10, which is crisp and vibrant, and all these colours really pop. He picked two screen grabs, one from Series 10, one from Series... I think this series, not last series, of one of Bill and one of Yasmin. Both of them stood in similar situations, both at similar times of day within the scene. Of course, the actors have like similar skin tones to, say, like obviously we compared it with Jodie and Pearl Mackie, for example. And there is a very definitive like difference between this really sharp, vibrant, oh my god, look at that colour pop of Series 10, and is the focus out? Why is there a filter on it?
I think it's deliberately
12?
Soft focus, and I think that's just the cinematographers they're using.
True. But it's really apparent on all of the Jack posts they're making this week when they're using the same image of him and it doesn't look remotely sharp. It's really... It's almost like they didn't do any publicity photos for him. And they're using this one screenshot.
I don't know why that is.
But Jack's back!
It's a definite aesthetic choice, I think. I don't think it's incompetence. I just don't understand
especially
why
with this director. Last week and this week there was a shitload of lens flare.
Yeah.
A lot of lens flare,
Very
mostly in ship interiors. But there was a lot of lens flare. Including in the ship that Jack commandeered, which is filmed in a cathedral in Bristol. Which is why in the trailer you can see an organ in the corner and it looks more like the interior of a building.
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, that's a fucking TARDIS.
Yeah, in the trailer. Oh, yeah. I mean, the master room has fueled it.
Even in the episode.
Yeah.
It's Graham who gets teleported there first, isn't it? Time scooped.
Time scooped.
Yeah, and I was
then
like,
snogged.
This is a fucking TARDIS.
The second time this series is mistaken for the Doctor.
But also, despite the fact that I still watched it...
I do like that slight meta-narrative of
right.
Bradley Walsh should be the Doctor. Alright, we're going to have characters constantly mistake him for the Doctor.
And he's always somewhat uncomfortable with it. He's always like,
No, hang on. And yet Jack completely, immediately accepts it and then switches pronouns and the internet noticed. And they're like, well frickin' done. Chibnall and Vinod Patel and what's it?
He's also somewhat excited about it.
Yeah, this I got it. Chibnall's semi-show running of Torchwood definitely came into play here. And I think that's why he had a co-writing credit. He probably wrote the Jack stuff primarily.
Yeah.
Because...
Probably just did a dialogue pass on it. And
Jack feels like he's leapt straight from the Stolen Earth to this. Journey's End to this.
Yeah.
Like, Doctor Who Jack was always tonally different from Torchwood Jack.
A little lighter, wasn't it?
And he feels like he's just reappeared. It was great to see him. It was a nice surprise watching it for the first time, because as soon as you hear that voice in the ship, purposely distorted just enough, we're quite sharp with voices.
But you can tell exactly who it is.
That's John Barrowman.
That is John Barrowman.
No, it can't be John Barrowman. Vroom, did you miss me? Yes!
Yes, we did, John!
Yes, we did. Captain by Jingo. So Captain Jack is trying to get hold of the Doctor to basically pass on a message.
The Lone Cyberman.
The Lone Cyberman, don't give it what it wants. Apparently the Cybermen are a fallen empire, but they're on the verge of a potential rise and
don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, they've been there for years. Don't call it a come, Jack. Oh, no.
No.
Mind you. So, he's looking good, that's all I'm saying. I'll be honest, the Cyberman story arc thing, when I realised, this is why Jack's here, I was that was like the one thing in the episode, in all honesty, the one thing that made me go, oh, is that it? Oh, that's a shame, because we're already dealing with a story arc this series, the whole Gallifrey's past and the Timeless Child. It's like, adding another thing to it? I have a feeling that the Timeless Child thing is not going to be resolved this year. Again, I think they're bleeding stuff over into the third year. And the Cyberman will be the thing that caps this series off.
Yeah.
And then next year...
Because we know we're getting at least one Cyberman this year.
Yeah, and next year will either be the last Chibnall and Jodie series, or the last Jodie series, or the last Chibnall series. One of those three combos. And the idea will be, when people look back over the 3 years, there was a subtle arc that we learnt more about, and then it ends in the third year. But it was still nice to see him, and it sucks you didn't get to see the Doctor, but like Chibnall said, he's not in the rest of the series, allegedly, but he can't wait to bring him back because he wants to see him play off of Jodie. So it's like, okay, this is a good sign that the Torchwood world is not completely gone. Who knows? Maybe
world.
Maybe we might even get a bit of dialogue or character appearance to find out where Gwen and Reese are at in their lives, and find out what happened to Mekhi Phifer's character now that he's fucking immortal, and that was the cliffhanger Miracle Day was left on.
Well, Reese is currently rehearsing a play for Out of Joint Theatre Company.
And you know what? I think they're at the point now where they'd have the budget for Mekhi Phifer, even if it was just a freaking cameo.
Yeah, probably.
Because the whole point of like that with what the hell was it called? Miracle Day was it was the Stars Network budget got involved, and it's like but I'm sure. Like, I mean, they had freaking Mr. Big last year, didn't they? Just being
Chris Noth, yeah.
So it's like you can do this now. You can get your American performers to just be shipped out and be in an episode. So yeah, Jadoon. Let's talk about Jadoon. That was the main thing I was excited for before it started.
Fucking love that hero Jadoon master Paul Condon.
Oh, it's good.
It's so good.
Which is so good. I'm so glad they credited him as that as well. Paul Condon, brilliant. Paul Casey as well, performing more creature effects for him and nailing it.
It's
Millennium
such a lovely
effects, going back to their old design and refining it. The suits are slightly different. Just slightly. They've got like rifles instead of the hand cannons now, and the chest plug is sort of, it looks like it's a different adapter. Yeah. It's like a two-pronged thing. It's like, that's a nice little detail. The idea that their tech doesn't stay stagnant either. Like everyone's, it evolves and changes. I thought that was cool.
And, but yeah, just the...
great design as well.
Just, the animatronics were just lovely. Just really lovely.
Better lip sync.
And these are great, a couple of tweets from behind the scenes where you see, like, in the trailer, just practicing the lip sync stuff. So good.
Just good to see them. Good to see them being used again. I mean, I got excited when the ship was revealed because it was just a more detailed CGI model of a Jadoon ship, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Instead of the four planters, it's got sort of like four curved prongs.
I think there's been some really nice practical creature effect. I think that's probably why the production's taking longer.
Maybe.
There's been some really, really nice practical creature effects, and you can't rush those.
True. But also returning elements, there's been a lot of redesigns and tweaks to returning elements this year. Because this series, of course, more than last year, obviously way more than last year, because last year had none. This series has been like, we're going to bring that back, we're going to bring this character back, and we're going to bring this character, which means we've got to design them in a way where... Because like the Master is only in a master outfit, unquote, for about 2 minutes.
But he has like 5 costumes over the course of 2 episodes.
Yeah, but like his look at the end, it's like, that's clearly going to be his look if he comes back.
And I love it. I love the sort of faux Victorian dandy, but dark edge. I fucking love Sacha Dhawan's Master already.
The purple Troughton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something about like the waistcoat and the high-waisted pants, so it just looks pompous. Yeah. In a really good way. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's so Master. That's so Master.
I like the fact that Jadoon are back to being mercenaries for hire, which is essentially what they are. They're
mercenary police, which I think is they're a PMC. They're a private military contractor.
Which is because they really egged that in this one. The idea that like that's their honor system. Like we will fulfill a contract. Yeah, that's their thing. Like they'll never renege on a contract ever. They will fulfill it. And that's like the only honour that they have, essentially. The rest of the time they will do whatever they need to do, like using contraband, like illegal time tech, and just going in and killing people with a barrier that eradicates old women into skeletons.
Oh yeah, there was some fucking merciless kills in this.
Oh god, yeah. Was it Big Ears Alan?
Big Ears Alan, not the greatest character in the world.
No,
not a great side character.
No, but we're going to remember him. But why? He had a stupid name, and he was an unnecessarily pissy person.
But as Keek said, why would she keep going back to that bakery?
True,
because he's weird.
But I think it's because I think it's because Ruth probably has an inkling somewhere in the back of her mind that there is something about Lee, so she doesn't let it bother her because she's like, oh no, don't be daft. But she's waiting for the day that maybe she'll hear something that makes her go, oh, actually, yeah. But we'll get into them in a second.
In case of emergency break glass, I got spoiled on the Ruth reveal.
Oh, how come?
Because it was in a fucking news headline on my Google News feed.
God.
Less than 2 hours after the episode aired.
What the fuck?
I know, right?
God.
So because I watched the episode about 9 o'clock on Sunday evening, and I had already been spoiled.
Oh jeez. Fuck you, internet. Fuck you.
But
don't check your apps. He didn't. was a Google News alert.
Yeah, literally all I need to do to access my newsfeed on my phone is from my home screen I swipe left, and it brings up a Google Newsfeed. And like the first story on there was
Doctor Who related.
Doctor Who related. It was spoiler again. Although everyone's been spoiled at this point because of fucking Twitter and the BBC are fucking spoiling it. It was like, oh, the BBC, this episode of Doctor Who reveals a new incarnation of the Doctor, and it was a picture of Joe Martin in the episode, and I was like, oh, so.
Did you say anything to Keeks?
I told her I'd been spoiled. I didn't say what I'd been spoiled.
Oh, okay. On. So you still kind of got to have that.
Well,
that second hand like.
The cool thing is that I got to knowing that going in. I was like, okay, well, let's look at the clues.
Yeah.
And
oh my god, little thing. Because the windows of the apartment.
Yeah.
The windows of the fucking apartment were TARDIS
hexagons everywhere.
Yeah, and the design, especially the mirror she looks in. The clock at the beginning when she's just sat there, just staring at her watch, and on first watch you kind of read it as, oh, she's sort of waiting for her morning to start. Like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna make me breakfast and get going.
Well, the first thing.
But in reality, she's sort of having a moment where she's just kind of drifting, and the sound effect that's playing of the clock ticking, it's a clock tick in reverse. It's some point out online. I was like, fuck. And when I rewatched it, it was Lucy's first watch, and I was rewatching it. I was like, fuck yeah, that's a backwards sound effect. Mm-hmm. What the hell?
But also, the first thing I thought when they brought the box out was like, well, that's the chameleon arch gizmo.
And then, then turns out not.
And then it turns out not to be.
On my second watch is when it reaffirmed. It reaffirmed to me that Lee was a Time Lord, or a Gallifreyan at least, because he casually at one point dismisses a Big Ears Alan as humans. And because on my first watch, I assumed that when Gat was interrogating him in the flat, Gat was assuming that was the Doctor.
Do you think they were both?
I think he was Gallifreyan. No,
because he scans as human.
Well, he must have been, but there must have been some kind of security thing. Like she was the one who was in hiding, so he must have done something to look out for her. Like he kept himself like.
He knew she was in hiding. He's the Martha to John Smith.
Because that was the thing. On my first viewing, I was like, oh my god. So it was, it was like, oh god, he's the companion. I mean, she literally, before she kills him, and obviously on first watch, you don't notice it, but you would have done because you didn't spoil it. She refers to him as ever the faithful companion. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, he's literally the Doctor's companion. But when he does the whole like throwaway human, like, I mean, maybe he's not from Earth. Maybe he's just he's another alien.
He's human enough to show as human, but yeah,
category human.
I know they say humanoid, don't they?
No, they say human. Actually, I don't know if they say the human. They say fugitive, negative, or whatever. Like,
they might.
In some scenes, they go category human, and in other scenes they go
fugitive,
like
negative.
Negative. I like the fact that Nick Briggs got to do a variety of Jadoon voices in this one. Yeah. And one of them, by accident, on at least 2 occasions, sounds a bit like Sergei the Meerkat from The Good Bear the Meerkat. He sort of spoke like this. It's like, oh, for God's sake, that's unfortunate. I never thought I'd feel sad for a Jadoon. She ripped its fucking horn off. Yeah, and it just screamed. I was like,
that was fucking rough.
I do love its reactions as well. The fact that they're these stomping death machines, but every now and again it's like.
But also knowing what I did about the reveal. Soon as she starts excavating the grave, and the first thing you see is the TARDIS lamp.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Yep. And then when she finds the break glass inside the lighthouse, it's got the writing on the side.
Yes.
That's like the first thing you see of it, because she comes out, and then you get the shot from the side, and you can see the hexagon the Gallifreyan writing on the side. You're like, okay.
This episode really relies on everyone specifically remembering the Tennant era, but very specifically having all watched Series 3.
I really liked it because it was just like
Jadoon, Chameleon Arches. Fucking Captain Jack Harkness.
Because it was like, you've had, a season and a half of Trindle being like, alright, I'm playing with these characters, doing some new things, doing some things you might not have seen before.
Here's a Dalek, here's the Master.
Yeah.
Moving on.
And then you get this episode and he just throws everything, and it's not just him, it's also obviously Vinay Patel. It was probably wrote most of this, and then Chibnall probably just tweaked the continuity stuff a bit.
I know a lot of people are going like, "Oh, I can't believe that Vijay Patel was wasted because so much of it was in service of the story arc." I wouldn't be surprised if the only thing Chibnall did was basically maybe write the Jack stuff.
I would imagine if
and like Doctor go over
I imagine
the Ruth stuff.
all Chibnall probably did for this, but probably made enough changes to get to actually earn a writing credit, would be a dialogue pass on returning characters, and some continuity tweaks, just to make it
that's the
fit
thing
into
as well.
the universe a bit.
Everyone who's saying that like it was a waste of Vijay Patel saying that because like he wrote the incredible Demons of the Punjab last series.
Yeah.
But it's like, can a writer not write like a really cool, profound historical,
I know,
and
right?
also a daft, dumb one where rhinos are invading Gloucester? Like, let them do that. Like, let them write different stories.
Neil Gaiman wrote The Doctor's Wife and Nightmare in Silver, so people have range. So, fucking... but yeah,
I'm so glad his teleplay skills have vastly improved.
Yeah.
See Good Omens.
Good Omens
is so good. Omens.
I love that it's on BBC now and it's just getting a second wind. We didn't even talk about Good Omens in our review of 2019.
We didn't.
There was so much good stuff in 2019. I forgot Good Omens was on in 2019, and it was so good.
Omens.
Hey.
Terry beat death. Still my favourite Easter egg of last year. Just the arcade machines, and they're all DF. But the top one is T. Pratchett.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
I love it.
Fuck yes.
Although technically it should have been Pateri, because that was his Usenet handle.
Yeah,
which is very good.
Mind you, it was an older arcade machine.
Yeah,
Pre-internet. Jaduma fun. Lee, really well played. And again, on the second watch, you see stuff because you know what his role actually is.
Which again, because I was I kind of got some of that going in the first time, so I didn't mind it too much being spoiled.
And yeah, he's not the fugitive, but he's not pretending or anything. It's not a case of mistaken identity per se.
Yeah.
Because, he also would be wanted, at least for information. Gat was interesting. Bit of a Time Lord villain.
Yeah.
One of the few Time Lords we've seen in the series off Gallifrey and in the present. But really experimenting with the idea of timelines. Like, you guys are clearly way earlier in a timeline than I am. Gallifrey, for me, is gone. It's obliterated. For you, it's still here. Love that when Jodie had to take a back seat in this and be very reactionary in the second half of the episode, but that was obviously in service of the story. But I did love the minute she was like, "You're serving nothing but ash and bone." When she was basically just trying to talk Gat down. She's like, "Where I'm from, none of that fucking matters.
It's gone.
It's gone." Let's talk about Ruth.
The Ruth.
What's his name again? Sorry, Joe
Martin.
Joe Martin.
Or the Doctor.
Yeah, I've seen people already giving her names. They've given her the Ruthless Doctor is the funniest one I've seen. The Fugitive Doctor.
It's the Doctor in her blue period.
The Lighthouse Doctor.
The Doctor's blue period.
So one thing I've seen a shitload of online, because the episode kind of makes very heavy suggestion that this is a Doctor from earlier in the timeline. And I've seen a lot of people saying, maybe she's season 6B. No, fuck off. No. Many reasons. One, Pertwee falls out of the TARDIS in Troughton's clothes. Two, why? Why would the Troughton Doctor and an older Jamie go on missions with the Time Lords and then randomly be a different regeneration who then somehow changes back into Troughton's clothes?
Yeah, like what?
Doesn't make sense. So stop trying to do that. It's most likely that she is a pre-Hartnell incarnation. And
I can go with that.
I'm up for that. Because
the thing is, I'm up for anything. Like I was saying this to Keith, she's
what about the incarnation thing? Because I know the stupid double 10 regeneration, but hey, guess what?
Doesn't matter.
Guess what? Maybe the Doctor had a different regeneration cycle before Hartnell.
Well, why is the TARDIS a police box?
Because it got stuck. But didn't it get stuck in Totter's Lane? The show has never said that it got stuck like that in Totter's Lane.
No.
It's entirely possible it got stuck like that before.
But we've seen the Doctor.
But what about this book?
But we've seen Clara tell the Doctor which TARDIS to travel in, and it wasn't in any shape before. Yeah, well, guess what? Fuck that flashback.
Listen, you know how continuity works in ongoing things,
Especially in a show about time
same as it
travel
works in comics.
and how nothing is consistent.
Everything works the way that it works until someone writes something and says that it works differently.
Yeah. So you were
That
saying
is- that is it. Like-
you were trying to talk about its geek. Sorry,
I was talking about Geek. She was like, "Well, what do you reckon?" Because I've seen a few theories online. I'm like, honestly, I don't try and get attached to any few theories. I suspect she's an alternate universe Doctor, which Chibnall has since he's just denied that.
He's denied that.
They said it's not an alternate universe thing.
He
it is
denied
the
that
Doctor.
reality.
He denied that reality.
He said that reality was a computation matrix.
But I'm honestly at this point, I'm game for whatever. It's like you
She'll
pull one.
mingle with Mum. He's pretty sharpling. I'm game for whatever.
I love Pyramids of Mars so
It's
much.
so good. It's so freaking good. I love it. Including the best shot of Doctor Who in its entire history, which is what the mummy's called?
The service robot.
Service, yeah. They refer to him as the service. They always say take a service with you. The service is about to turn around in the pyramid in the last episode. Sarah Jane and the Doctor walk in the doorway and immediately turn around before it sees them.
It's so good,
and it's just so smooth. And it's Tom and Liz being brilliant, but it's also the fact that their expressions don't change. Both their eyes just widen a little bit as they realise they're about to be seen. There's no big comedy moment, and as a result, it's so understated and much funnier. It's the greatest shot in the history of the show. What about the Dalek coming out of the tent? Fuck it.
Fuck it, don't matter.
No. What about the opening shot of Travel Time Lord? That long panning of the ship? Fuck it. No.
Nope. It's that shot from Pyramids of Mars. It's them turning around.
It's so good. Bless Lucy. She's about to watch the Android invasion, poor thing.
Oh, no. But at this point...
but that's obvious, yay.
After Creatures of the Dune and the stuff it throws at you and the balls on the production team for going,
fuck yeah.
Right, this is what we're doing. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Whatever ride you want to take me on, I am happy.
Joe Martin is
Do whatever.
Excellent. Feel for the whole time. Lovely and warm.
Yeah.
Joe Martin as Ruth, the triggered secret agent, kick-ass, Winter Soldier. Great. Sells it really well. It's really eerie, especially the 2 moments after that where she briefly has that sort of blank stare and you're like, oh fuck, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then, the inevitable Doctor. Very Hartnell and Pertwee. Action-packed
Cold the Doctor.
cold.
Cold the
Yeah.
Doctor. And has a
not
fucking gun.
Humor. Not without humour.
Doctor with a gun.
Yeah, not using it.
But another thing Keith said, Keith's not being as familiar with the show as I am, being like, what? I thought the Doctor didn't use guns. Well,
true.
That's true until it's not.
Yeah.
It's true until...
I never would.
It's true...
Several specials later, wielding a gun.
Yeah.
Razzle on.
It's true until the Sixth Doctor shoots the cyber controller in the chest. It's true until... The Fourth Doctor takes an elephant gun to a giant rat. It's true until it's not.
Yeah.
So, but then again, she doesn't actually directly use it. She's got it set to backfire. Which is, again,
the Doctor's done that before.
Some versions of the Doctor...
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
Some versions of the Doctor wouldn't do that. Some versions of the Doctor absolutely would. The colder, more ruthless
Their
versions.
principles remain the same.
Yeah.
Their methods can change, which does tweak their morals.
But I think that would...
Their principles are the same. Their morals can change.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of lends itself to her being an earlier version of...
Also the console room.
Oh, that console room made me so happy.
It was like...
Oh, it's like... Yeah, it is like it's like an Apple iPod version of the original control room.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they took
nice.
the console room set from the Series 9 finale, which again is sort of meant to be this is suggesting that Hartnell's interior is
the default. Yeah.
It's sort of taken that set, simplified it, and made it a little shinier. And
it looks really nice.
It looks great, and it especially complements
really
her costume,
nice.
which is fucking awesome.
Oh my god, she looks so cool.
Boots, garish as fuck shirt, Tight jeans,
like pseudo,
amazing waistcoat and jacket.
pseudo-military,
Yeah.
sort of, but also a bit adamant.
God, yeah. Yes, very adamant, actually, now you've said it. Fuck. She just needs like a stripe of paint on her nose and
also,
alright.
also the fact that fucking she's having to go at Jodie for being all rainbows while she's wearing that fucking shirt.
Which is very Doctor again. Which is very Doctor. Very multi-Doctor encounter is that kind of thing. Isn't it weird that this is one of the multi-Doctor episodes?
But with the Doctor, we don't know which one she is.
Yeah.
Which opens up a whole fucking range of... I hope we get to see a decent chunk of her, though. Like, I hope we're going to see a lot more Joe Martin Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, more Joe Martin Doctor than the War Doctor, certainly, I'd like. Because it's just such a different...
It adds mystery to the character again.
But also, it's such a...
There's an incarnation we didn't know about. Have we been here before? Yeah, but difference is... We're not being given an explanation as to where this one was.
But her attitude is such a polar opposite to Jodie's. Like, she's much colder, she's much more blunt, and she's much less patient.
Also, her hair's amazing. Jodie's hair is nice, but Jodie Whittaker's hair in real life on the press tour is always way cooler than the Doctor's hair. She always has these big, like, sweeping fringes and like, curls and everything. It's like, damn, girl, you look awesome.
Jodie Whittaker's just a cool one.
She's adorable. Fucking adorable.
But apparently so is Joe Martin. Who knew? Not me, because I can't remember what I've actually seen Joe Martin
I hope Joe Martin doesn't look at her social media. Because immediately after this episode, she got bombarded with bullshit. Which is a thing. Which is... I wanted to bring this up because... Opinion is one thing. Unnecessary vitriol is another.
Yeah, but like attacking... Yeah, fuck off.
And I'm going to sort of verbatim read this a little bit. Friend of the show... friend of the show, Mr. TARDIS, Will Carlisle, on his Trilby Twitter, he posted this thread, and I'm just going to touch on it briefly, because I think it's worth reading out. I implore you to check it out and engage with Will about this. His handle on Twitter, everybody's Trilby Reviews, Trilby spelled TRILBEE.
Check it out!
Check it out! But he put this, and it was this morning, yesterday, and I just thought it was an interesting thing to touch on. A brutally honest thread about Doctor Who fandom. Buckle up.
I'm buckled. Hang on, let me get my seatbelt on. I haven't got a thing I can make a buckle sound with. Just imagine I'm buckling it. Imagine the sound of me buckling a seatbelt. Either a clunk click or a airport. Just imagine buckle sounds. Buckle sounds.
You could just say click.
Clunk click.
Where'd you get that seatbelt from? So I had a bit of an epiphany yesterday when chatting with my girlfriend, who noted that even though she hardly follows Doctor Who social media accounts or fans, her timeline gets flooded with wholly negative coverage of the show, to the point where she's completely baffled by people taking the show that seriously. Obviously, fans can be passionate in their love for something, and sometimes we can be critical out of love, but that's not what she was referring to. It was more the idea that even supposed fans of the show completely hate it, and that hatred is so visibly unhinged, so obviously lacking a basis in reality, that it actually has started to turn her off the programme. I thought about this viewpoint overnight, and it made me also consider the relatively low viewing figures when compared to previous seasons. Because that has been something that's recurred this year. The viewing figures have been alright, but they've been significantly lower. Now, part of that is the changing landscape of how people consume media.
Yeah,
but even after the 7-day count of streams, it's coming nowhere near previous years.
This is something I was explaining to Keeks, because we were talking about that, and she's like, well, I think that the fact that things aren't on iPlayer for 7 days anymore, they're on iPlayer for a month or longer, so people are less
inclined to
gotta
watch that now. Now, I think there are multiple factors to the viewing figures decreasing, he says, like having a series opener on New Year's Day, the utter lack of marketing to mainstream audiences, etc.
Yeah, it came in so hot.
But I think one factor we have to consider is that, as a fan base, Whovians have become utterly repulsive to the uninitiated.
And also, you can probably substitute Whovians for a fan base of your choice.
Someone replies further down with switch out with Star Wars, Star Trek, etc. at your leisure.
Transformers.
Yeah, oh god.
Strangely.
Music. Any music fan base, anyone who is a stan of someone tends to get nasty at some point.
But I think one factor we have to consider, is that they've become repulsively initiated. Think about it. You search YouTube for Doctor Who, or get some Doctor Who videos in your recommended feed. What do you find up the ranks? You find blatant white supremacy, and he cites Bowelstreck. Fake news that would make a UK tabloid call for an intervention, Nerdrotic.
Emergency Awesome.
Well,
not necessarily Doctor
he's
Who
less
centric,
nasty, but yeah. Horrific racism, the list goes on.
Who was the one who did the Chibnall quits stuff? Doomcock.
Doomcock.
Did some crackers.
Is he the one who dresses like Doctor Doom?
I don't know.
And when he makes essays about stuff, it's like, oh, that's really well put together. And then when he makes opinion pieces, you're like, oh, you're an unhinged fuckwit.
Well, they were the one who was like, Chris Chibnall walks away from the series 12 mid-production, and then then a couple of months after moved on to Kathleen Kennedy fired from Star Wars.
Yeah. On Twitter, search Doctor Who on Twitter right now. Go on, I'll wait. It's bloody ugly, isn't it?
It is ugly.
I don't know specifically what you found, but I found death threats against Joe Martin, racism, transphobia, the odd positive tweet, but not enough to stop the flagrant bigotry that's front and centre in the fandom. And it's completely insane, some of the things I've seen on public social media boards. I saw fans yelling at Chris Chibnall because of altered Cybermen designs from the Series 10 finale. Chris Chibnall being blamed for a design decision in Series 10. And then there's tabloid outlets decrying PC Doctor Who without ever defining what they mean by PC, posting racism and sexism using Doctor Who as a Trojan horse so that the writers or editors can just be as horrible as they want under the guise of fandom. See Jeremy Clarkson. And of course, news outlets posting about the viewing figures in a negative way and just lying about them. Just flat out lying about objective numbers. This is all pushed to the surface and is right in front of any potential new fan's face when they get engaged. I'm reminded of a piece written on Birth Movie's Death, talking about the backlash to 2016's Ghostbusters. How Ghost Bros screamed, "They ruined my childhood!" To which the writer retorts that witnessing how much hatred and sexism and racism existed in the Ghostbusters fandom, that they actually did make him reevaluate his childhood and how something he enjoyed and loved watching growing up now has this horrible bigotry attached to its legacy. That's how I feel about Doctor Who now, says Will. I got into a dumb Twitter argument with a guy on Twitter this morning who was utterly convinced that the new Doctor Who creative team were anti-male. How they were destroying the show and scheming Doctor Strangelove style in an evil lair to bring down the white man.
Oh, God.
He presented this completely without irony and, of course, without a shred of evidence or proof. When I pointed out that even I, someone who's a bit cold on Series 12 so far, and gave legit reasons as to why, thought he was being ridiculous, he called me brainwashed. This guy, who had no reason to believe what he believed, just pushing this utterly insane narrative. Once again, he believes in a scenario like one picture below, and he's put a photo of the War Room from Doctor Strangelove. Thought that I was the brainwashed one. And he's a prominent face of the Doctor Who fandom on Twitter. For real. Yes, there are great and usually positive and lovely corners of the fandom, but in an internet, algorithmic age, where the most extreme toxic content rises to the top, that's not the face of the fandom. It's not the first thing newcomers see. I think it's time this fandom takes a long, hard look at itself, at how repulsive a fandom we look from the outside, how inaccessible a community we must look to any potential fans, despite the morals and messages that the show has always preached for 57-ish years. This negativity is not sustainable for a fandom. It's grotesque, and it not only drives current fans away, but prevents any new and hopeful fans from even bothering to get involved. The ultimate irony here is that these supposed fans, who claim to love the show, who've decided to play victim and express that love with bigotry, exclusion, gatekeeping, and just general vile behaviour might be the reason for its eventual decline. But at this point, it might be what this fandom actually deserves. The show deserves better than us. By all means, be critical, present your arguments and critiques in good faith. If you're not liking the show, that's fine. If you really hate the show, then don't watch it and come back when the team changes. But don't pretend for a single second that death threats, racism, sexism, transphobia, and every other ism under the sun that you scream into the ether is not on the same wavelength as valid critique or legit concerns. Think of how alienating a community you make us look. This show is better than you. He goes on with much more stuff, but fair. I'm like, fuck Will. Yes.
Trilbee Reviews, Trilbee Reviews on Twitter. Go give him a follow if you aren't already and read his thoughts.
Every time I hear this fucking refrain, they're like, they're pushing out white men. No, they're pushing out straight cis white men. They're pushing them out of positions of authority and they're making things more diverse. Good! We deserve to be pushed out. We fucked everything up.
Yeah, bastards.
Other people need to take what we've driven into the ground and make it fucking better. More points of view, more backgrounds, more thoughts than just, I am a straight cis white man and this is my view and this is how I think things should be and this is how I think stories should be told. No! It's stale, it's old, it's boring, it needs to go. We need more diversity, more welcoming. Everything is for everyone. We don't fucking gatekeep. Someone enjoying something that you like does not make you enjoy it any less. There's not a finite amount of enjoyment to go round. Let's all get round the table and wank off. Why not? No matter what equipment you've got.
Metaphorical wank, right?
Yeah, metaphorical.
Oh, thank God. God.
Circle jerk should only be done consensually. Don't do it without everyone's express consent.
Police say that the offender said he was given permission by the podcast Big Damn Cat
to get around the table and not in a Weatherspoons, you know what I mean? Private place, get down to metaphorically speaking. But
there's enough wankers running that business as it is.
But I don't understand why. Surely, the more people like something that you like, the better, right? Like the more the merrier. I want everyone to like things. I don't want people to not like things. And if there is things about something, if something's exclusionary, to someone, then surely that's not a good thing. Don't come to me and say, well, this thing is exclusionary to me as a white man because it has a woman of colour in it. Fuck off. You're a white man. Nothing's exclusionary to you. We fucking ooze our way through every fucking possible crack in society that is made by someone who didn't build it. We try and lock down everything to be better for us and no one else, and it's bullshit. And it's a big picture thing to be talking about in terms of entertainment and pop culture, but
absolutely relevant.
Entertainment and pop culture are such microcosms of society at large, like in the same way that sci-fi stories sort of are held up as a mirror to society and are often socially allegorical. So the sort of mini communities that spring up around things like fandoms are equally representative of wider society, because they're literally just smaller versions of social groups, of wider social groups. So you can see these patterns that are coming through in politics in general, particularly in the States and the UK, where there's definitely a move towards this sort of reactionary white supremacy. You see that coming through into things like Doctor Who fandom, because that's, for some reason, some percentage of the population feels so threatened by the fact that people who look different to them, who think different to them, who are different to them, are getting involved, that they feel that they have to be defensive about it. And all you're doing is creating more rifts when we should be building more bridges. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you have to be so exclusionary. What are you losing? What is it that you think these people are taking from you? Your right to be a racist. Good. You don't deserve it. Your right to be transphobic. Good. You don't deserve it. Let them take it from you. You'll be better without it. But I digress.
Which is unusual for you, I know. No, beautifully put.
Let's do some emails.
I've not read these. Let's hope they're not confrontational.
Oh, let's find out. First one.
Doctor Who spoilers abound for those who, for some reason, managed to skip to this for some reason.
Long time listener.
First
time writer.
Today.
Many times writer.
Many times. Monty time.
Tom Monty!
That's the email.
Dear Chris and Matt.
Oh, hey.
So I just finished Fugitive of the Jadoon. Blimey! It's taken a series and a half, but finally Chibnall has actually entertained me.
Hey, got you.
However,
Oh.
it felt like 3 episodes in one. It was a very overwhelming watch. I really feel like these plot lines should have been brought out across the series rather than all being crammed into one episode. In this episode, we got the Master mentioned, the Jadoon, Nanogenes, Chameleon Arch, Captain Jack, Cybermen mentioned, and a new Doctor. I feel like Chibnall is bringing everything from the show's history into one series to make up for the complete lack of anything in Series 11, and it's a bit on the nose.
I think part of that's a sacrifice of the lesser episode count, really.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I don't think he's doing it to make up for things. I do agree. I do agree. There's a lot in this episode, but we'll get to that later in the email. Anyway, I was happy with the return of Captain Jack. My only problem is that the one time he finally comes back, I think he'll be back again. He encounters the 3 most wooden companions the show's ever had. Having all 4 of them in the room really highlighted the complete lack of personality the current TARDIS team have, but still. I like the companion. Oh, never mind.
I like them, but
it was great to see.
I know what you mean. There's not as much personalities bouncing off of each other.
No, there's not as big personalities bouncing off each other. It was great to see him again, even if he did nothing to further the plot, but I look forward to his future return. But I am a little disappointed that when the Doctor meets him, she won't be surprised because the companions have ruined it for her. As for Ruth, in the 10 minutes of screen time we got with that, I honestly think I preferred 13. She was great, and I much prefer the TARDIS to the current one. Really not a fan of her outfit, though. Also, I thought the reveal was very rushed. Fucking love that outfit, man.
I love the outfit myself.
Love that outfit. It's the coolest motherfucker in the room. On a side note, I'm beginning to absolutely loathe 13's use of the Sonic. It literally does anything the plot requires with all these energy readings. I miss when it opened doors. That's how the Sonic has kind of been used since the show came back. Like, it's...
That's true. I think... I know what you mean a little bit, Tom. I think they have been writing in moments where it's used as a scanner a lot more in this era.
They've been doing that since at least...
Oh, yeah.
Matt
No,
Smith.
it's definitely been functioning that way for about 10 years now, but I know what you mean. I feel like if you took out any script from this series, there'd be like 7 mentions of she scans with the Sonic. And it's like, yeah, that is a bit frequent, isn't it? But at the same time, if you've got young boys and girls around the country with their toy Sonic doing that all the time, I kind of don't mind if that's the end result, because that's kids getting into the show. Yeah,
that's kind of who that stuff's for, I think.
Yeah.
It's a tricorder now as well as a Sonic screwdriver. Don't worry about it. Do you feel... So, did you think there was too much happening in this episode? Maybe, but it was just so... It had such momentum. And it felt
like a shot in the arm mid-series. Yeah, it was like, hey, you guys having fun? Yeah, you enjoying the sort of the pace of this? Yeah. Boom, baby!
It had so much energy and momentum that I think I just went with it. And it kind of was like, all right, I'm along for this ride. So there was quite a lot going on, but I think it just propels it forward at such a speed that it felt good to me.
That's what I meant about the episode count, Tom. I think if it was a 13-episode season like it had been in previous years, or a 12-episode season, maybe one of the elements in this one would have been introduced in a different story and it would be spread a bit more. So like Jack would be in one episode and the Joe Martin Doctor would be in a different one. So I kind of get what you mean there, yeah. I still enjoyed it as a surprise fest, though, because I was just like, what the fuck?
What did you think of the baker man with the dossier on Ruth's husband? I thought it was really weird, especially when he got out that cake. Yeah, weird guy.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Weird side character. What can you say? They can't all be winners. He is weird.
He pushed a rhino in armour and got shot for his troubles. So.
Do you feel like Jack and the Cyberman storyline could have been put in another episode? Seeing as it seemingly wasn't related to all the Time Lord business, I feel like having that on top of it all made the episode feel really packed. Do you think we'll see him again in this series or the next one? Well, we've talked about Chibnall saying he's not back this series.
Yeah.
As for it being...
See my previous comments on episodes maybe helping.
It's not really a Jack and Cyberman storyline as it is sort of a side thing setting up for something later. So I think that's more of a case of that is setting up something later in the series than a storyline for this
wonder
episode.
if it was picked because he wanted to do this where the companions met him and got that bit of info. And this was just the most logical episode because there was a big gap where the Doctor had to be separated from them.
Yeah, I think it just makes it... I think the sort of curse and blessing of having a big TARDIS team is you can split them off and do multiple things at once, but then you have to split them off and do multiple things at once.
And a lot of the time they just send the three of them off together, and it's like, oh, are they just trying to keep them separate from the Doctor? What's going on? Yeah.
What did you think of Ruth's reveal?
I bloody loved it.
Loved it. Do you think Ruth is a pre-Hartnell Doctor? I really hope she's an alternate universe version and not a past version pre-Hartnell. I don't want Chibnall messing up the canon and claiming that the Doctor was originally a woman or anything, because I can see him doing that. Also, if it is pre-Hartnell, why the hell is a TARDIS in the form of a police box?
Like I said, we never got confirmation that the TARDIS stuck during Hartnell's time.
I think
it's possible.
There's probably stuff about like in the various expanded universe.
I don't have a problem with the Doctor's initial incarnation being a woman. Moffat joked about it in a way that was like, wait, hang on, what? When we thought Hartnell was the first Doctor for sure.
Yeah.
When Missy says, I've known him since he was a little girl. So
yeah, that's quite good.
which was a throwaway line that at the time was like, that's a fun little throwaway line, but also, come on, Stephen, you've already, as a showrunner, really fucked around with all the incarnations and the numbering and all this, that, and the other. Are you implying there's more before? Please don't be doing that. Yeah. But new showrunner, new rules.
And also,
I hope if she is an incarnation of the Doctor with no flim flam, I hope she's the one pre-Hartnell. Yeah. Because that would be like, shit, there really is stuff about this character we don't know. I mean,
one of the many pre-Hartnell.
Yeah, well, exactly. It'd be a different regeneration cycle. If Smith was indeed based on Moffat's calculations in Time of the Doctor, Smith was the 30th incarnation of that body, then that means that pre-Hartnell, there'd be a different regeneration cycle.
He's recanonizing Brain of Morbius.
Yeah,
the Brain of Morbius mind duel.
Let's just hope they're not all like 7 white dudes with Victorian facial hair.
They're all Alan Moore. It's Joe Martin.
Also,
Alan Moore, William Hartnell.
Patrick Troughton, that bloke in Devious, John Pertwee. Peter Cushing somewhere.
I think I'd make a really great Doctor, actually, because I just don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
About anything.
You can be the little girl. I don't mind if she ends up being pre-Hartnell and indeed the first, because here's the thing: lest we all forget, there's so many people who are complaining about the idea of her being pre-Hartnell, who also loved the Cartmel master plan and wanted to know all about that stuff. Hartnell definitely was not going to have been the same Doctor who started Time Lord Society with Omega and Rassilon. Like, there would have been another regeneration cycle pre-Hartnell for sure. And we as viewers are the only ones who view Hartnell as the first incarnation.
Yeah.
Because we've been told by the fact we've seen him first,
well, also,
and the fact that they always refer to him as the original.
Yeah.
That's it, but we don't know. And as we're learning the series, the Doctor also doesn't know about some shit. The Master's learnt about it, and it's to do with our Time Lord past, our society, what it's built on. I've got a feeling that there might be... Old Time Lords may have been brought back again and again and again.
Like a sort of infinite loop thing.
Yeah. I mean, they play with that technology in the Engines of War book, and in Day of the Doctor it's mentioned the idea that Time Lords dying again and again. Like, if they're not outright killed by the Daleks, they of course regenerate.
Yeah.
They get no time and they're sent straight back into battle. And the idea was that they were starting to resurrect Time Lords. I mean, they did it with the Master. They did it with Rassilon. So it's entirely possible that it's this whole abomination. The thing the Master's horrified at is we are not in charge of our own destinies, because eventually they just put us back in the box and hit reset. Could be that.
Interesting.
Could be that.
On that note, you should watch The Endless on Netflix, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't want you messing up the canon. This is a show about time travel. The canon is flexible at best.
Oh, yeah.
To say the least.
And we've seen in the show, examples in the show of history being changed on a whim.
Oh, yeah.
Not just things like, Turn Left and Father's Day that play with that. But again, we were watching Pyramids of Mars this week. Sarah Jane and the Doctor discover the shit that's going on with Sutek at the Priory.
Pyramids of Mids.
And Sarah Jane's like, look, if we just get out of here now, everything will be fine. And the Doctor's like, right, so knowing what we know now, I'm going to take you to London in 1980.
I'm from 1980. Are you Sarah Jane?
Well,
At some
I'm
point-
from 1980/1970.
At some point, she will be.
And exactly, he then takes her forward to 1980 in London.
Yeah.
And
it's
the Earth is
gone.
scorched to fuck. That's one of the few examples in the show where they just sort of go like, right, I'm going to take you to the future now as it stands without us getting involved in this. Oh, look, the Earth is dead. Should we go back and fix it then? Which is the show doesn't do a lot of because it focuses a lot mainly in the modern era on fixed points in time and all this stuff. But
again, that's inconsistent.
Time could be rewritten to fuck. This might be a far future incarnation of the Doctor. Do you know what I mean? Who's just that far removed. Like, she's like 20 lives ahead or whatever. Like, I don't mind him playing the continuity as long as it doesn't like egregiously fuck up a lot of what's gone before. But it's introducing spokes to the wheel.
But again, with time travel, you don't have to worry about that because everything that has happened up to this point has always happened.
True, but then you can do what Moffat...
Until it hasn't happened.
You can do what Moffat did and recontextualise Eccleston's first series into not the story of a person suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, post-war like trauma, and instead it's a story about an idiot who forgot that actually everyone's alive.
But
Day of the Doctor's one big crime is it recontextualises the Ninth Doctor.
From his point of view, he's still a lone survivor with survivor's
That's
guilt.
true, but like we can't use the Obi-Wan defense from a certain point of view.
Because, Yeah, we can. Why can't we? Why can't we? Of course
But
we
that's
can.
the thing, you can choose to, and as I do, you can choose to watch Series 1 knowing the events of the Day of the Doctor and still believe that at that point in his history, he did commit double genocide. Day of the Doctor, in his personal future, is where that narrative changes.
Well, it's not. But that's the thing. It's not about what we know as an audience. It's about what he believes as a character.
True, but also like the weight of it seems a little silly. If it's just like at any point he could just do some searching and find out about it.
He did commit double genocide, but then because of the events of Day of the Doctor, he doesn't.
Exactly. So they retroactively change it. It's retcons.
So both of them happened.
Yeah. So when you watch Day of the Doctor, when you watch Series 1, he still did that horrible shit, unless you choose to think of it as Day of the Doctor happened immediately before this. Or you look again. It's about time, innit?
But then Day of the Doctor,
it's not a linear thing. It's not linear.
Day of the Doctor both did and didn't happen immediately before Series 9.
Exactly. So you can choose to look at it however you want, like the Hartnell thing.
Yes,
Is
exactly.
Hartnell Incarnation 1? Yeah, as far as we knew, but maybe he wasn't.
He is until he isn't.
Yeah. So I'm up for it.
Thoughts on the
Mess
fact...
around with the continuity.
It's so about time to mess around with canon all you want. Thoughts on the fact that all the episodes in Series 12 so far have been set on Earth?
I mean, yeah, bit of variety would be nice, because that was sort of something that the Russell era excelled in giving us an anchor for its companions.
Yeah.
But as a result, there were very few alien planets in that first 3 years.
And it looks like next week is the same, so much for the tagline, space for all.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get off Earth.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get off Earth. I mean, we thought we were off Earth in episode 3, but we weren't, spoilers. So, it would be nice to get off Earth. Yes, please. Please do that.
And
There's been a lot, all the off Earth stuff this series and last has mostly been spaces between reality.
Yeah.
Like the home of the Kasavin in Spyfall, or the
creepy,
the caverns leading to the mirror world, and it takes you away. I can't remember the name of the aliens now, but in Demons of the Punjab, their ship was just it was underground and just sort of slightly out of skew with everything around it. Like it seems like the furthest these guys travel in this era is just left of center of reality. Yeah, it'd be nice to have an alien planet or two. I hope that does come around. I agree. Thanks, Tom. That was meaty.
This one comes in from our Australian friend, Jack Mills.
Hi, Jack. Hope everything's okay with you, Cockle.
He says, "G'day, big damn mates."
Hey!
Jack again, here to talk about the latest Doctor Who episode. I'm not sure if I liked Fugitive of the Jadoon. It felt like it was written by a fan of the Russell T Davies era on cocaine.
That's actually a pretty
That's
good
not
summation.
a bad... Yeah, that works. I wish I could enjoy it as much as other fans are, but it felt like too much fan service for my liking.
Oh,
which is odd because so many of the people who describe themselves as fans hated it. It's one of those, it's either too much or not enough fan service depending on who you talk to. But hey, the only return I liked was the Jadoon. As much as I love him, bringing Captain Jack back felt unnecessary. Instead of blatant fan service, I would rather new characters for this new era of the show. Yeah, I think there's room for both. That would end up becoming just as memorable as Captain Jack. That's a hard thing to replicate, isn't it? That's the thing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So
I kind of get that a little bit though. Like we don't have any recurring ones just yet from this era, and it sort of feels like there's room for that, but maybe again because it's a busy TARDIS team, they don't want to.
Yeah, there's a lot going on already.
More space.
You've got fitting, 4 main characters plus guests in every episode.
I'm surprised Mr. Big's not popped back up yet because they sort of leave that open ended.
Yeah,
obviously he wouldn't be Captain Jack, but it'd be nice to have like a minor antagonist in the form of a millionaire wannabe politician on Earth.
I mean, it's not like there's not a few of them about already.
Considering they've killed off Unit as well, so
yeah.
it's like, let's have some recurring characters who are maybe more antagonistic.
So I didn't like the Chameleon Arch gimmick returning either, but it did bring us this new Doctor with other Time Lords. This makes the Gallifrey arc we're getting much more complex and interesting, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Cheers. I think I'm the same as Jack on that one. Like the fact that they're just throwing everything at it, I'm just like, I have no idea where the fuck this is going to go, but I'm so down for it.
Especially Gallifrey, because we spent years with it being a motivator for the Doctor and who he was.
Yeah.
And now that Matt Smith's incarnation's like, is that what I've got to do now? Go looking for Gallifrey, and you're like, oh shit, this is the show's mission now. And then one episode later, they resolve that with, oh, it's in a pocket universe, and we're going to keep it there because it's in danger. Oh, and then they return to it in Capaldi's kind of. You're like,
danger, Will Robinson.
Huh. Oh, is it back to just being a boring, stuffy, like, aristocracy and
yep,
like, political quagmire? Oh, that's really dull.
Oh, and you're Rassilon again. Good.
Oh, but now it's destroyed. Well, that's kind of stupid that the two main things it's done in the series in the modern era has been being destroyed.
Every time they've tried to use it and make it interesting, they've kind of failed.
Yeah,
so,
but it would have been better. As weird as it sounds, it would have felt less weird that it's just, oh, we've destroyed it again as a story thing to me, if when we had revisited it in that interim, they would have done something cool with it, or something different with it.
But I think this leads the way for them to do something cool with it.
Yeah, that's why this gives me hope that it's like, Gallifrey's destroyed again, was it for nothing, just for forced drama? No, because we're going to learn some weird shit about it.
I quite like the idea that Time Lords are bastards.
Well, I mean, Gat.
And they hide, yeah.
Like, Gat was nasty.
We've seen plenty of nasty Time Lords, but and I feel like them being nasty enough to send the Master into a sort of genocidal rage against them. I mean, he's kind of genocidally rage-filled anyway. But the fact that they've...
Especially this incarnation, he's very trigger-happy.
He's found something heinous enough about them to be like, right, well, I'm going to fucking wipe them out then. Is interesting. So yeah.
And not in like a big, the moment will end everything in a blink of an eye kind of way. In a, you're going to go there, and by the time you visit, it's still going to be on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to burn it to the ground.
But it's also a case of...
It'd be nice to see places other than the Citadel and that fucking barn as well.
Let us not forget that Gallifrey fired the first shot in the Time War way back in Genesis of the Daleks. Yes. They made the first strike.
Yeah. They made the first strike in trying to interfere with Dalek history.
And they didn't even do it themselves. They sent a fucking renegade to do it so they could go, wasn't us, honest.
Then the destruction of Skaro in Remembrance is seen as another side to it.
That was the Doctor,
which is what, yeah, but that then united. Well, no, it was the Joe Martin "Don't shoot me, Gat, don't do it" play of like, don't use the hand of Omega, Rassilon. I'm doing it anyway. Right, well, you destroyed your planet.
Well,
and then that's
well done.
Presumably, that's when the warring Dalek factions were like, "Yeah, we need to unite and do something about this." And yeah, like,
unlimited rice pudding,
etc.
Fucking love that scene.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to where this could go. I'm looking forward to where Picard could go. And I'm looking forward to bringing you guys fresh new content every week. Go to patreon.com/BigDamnCast to help support the shows. We've got Big Damn Love, a beautiful video essay about things that give us an emotional throbber. We've got twitch.tv/BigDamnStream, live streams throughout the week from both that channel and my channel hosting over there. We have got beautiful nonsense and occasional whiffles on the Twitter @BigDamnCast. And of course, you can get in touch with the show like the two fine folks who did this afternoon by Jingo, as it now is, as the time of recording.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Did bigdamncontact@gmail.com. We'll read out your emails in the show, respond to questions, and all that good shit. If you take part in all of our Wiffles and Waffles, then you win an exclusive prize. We'll play jizz in your ears.